I have up my jacket that we put together in another video. It could have been a fitted bodice or the basis for a fitted bodice style, but I'm going to convert it into a jacket so that it would at least fit over a blouse. You can add a little more or less than I'm doing on the screen. You wouldn't want to add too much to this without going up a size, but for the amount that I'm going to add, it's just going to be jacketized. And there are more options, but this is simple. So I'm pulling them together, and I'm going to zoom in and make sure that this bottom edge is touching and the little triangles are right on top of each other, and then zoom back out. So I want it aligned for a minute. It overlaps right there. That's okay. And I don't really have to do that with the next piece. So I want to make it 2 inches bigger around. I could make it 3 inches bigger around. But I don't want it to be that much bigger. So I'm going to make it a total of 2 inches bigger around, which would be a 1/2 inch on the side seam. And that would add up to a total of 2 inches. So I guess I'm changing my mind again. Yep, that's how it goes. I could offset this whole amount, create line, offset. I haven't shown you this before, but you can do offset even or uneven. We're sticking with even, but uneven can be handy. So if I choose both of those lines and say OK, and my offset amount, I'll switch to value and do a positive 0.5, then they're both going to come out that far, and I can swap those lines and be done. If I want to move my shoulder out so that the shoulder position is wider and sticks out beyond, so for that you would be adding shoulder pads, and we would end up making an adjustment for that and changing the shape of the shoulder. And you can look in your pattern making books at how to do that. It's fairly simple. I want to keep this simple, but if I wanted to bump this out just 1/4 of an inch, then maybe I would add 1/4 of my amount on the interior of the piece and the other 1/4 of an inch on the side. Or if I were to add, well, you can stop here and just swap the lines, and that's adding 2 inches total circumference. I'm going to show you how to bump it out another 1/4 of an inch, and 1/4 of an inch per section is going to be another inch, so that would be 3. So if I were just adding 2 and I didn't want to change my shoulder, I would just swap those and be done. So I'm going to do that now. Modify, line, swap. And I'm going to leave the line there so I'll remember that I did it. So if I wanted to add that line in those 2 places and just move that whole section out, then that would be a good way to extend my shoulder out. And if I wanted to, I would just rotate that line up. So I would start by creating a 2-point line, and the reason I lined this up is so that I put it in the same place on both of these pieces. So I want to be fairly close to the armhole, but not beyond the edge. So right click, horizontal, and just set that down. And I now have that line on this piece, but I want to copy it to that one. Create line, copy, select the line to, oh no, select the line to copy. I don't want to copy that one. Say OK, choose the piece, say OK, find the line, cancel, it's in the right place. So now I have the line in both places, and it's just my guideline. And I'm going to put another one in a similar location over here. Far enough out that it doesn't touch the shoulder, and far enough, yeah. Well, if I make that, that's going to be cutting it pretty tight. If I touch there again, it disappears, and I just moved it out a little bit. Right click, horizontal, pull it down to the end. Okay, so you'll have seen a little bit of this in the other video, and if you are at a very basic level, please don't follow along with this, just watch and then we'll resume. Advanced, parallel, like we did before. I have a guideline here. I don't have to have that line there, but I wanted to get it in a similar place on both pieces. The location that's remaining stationary is this one. I'm not moving any internal line. Well, I am. I'm moving this one. Say OK and spread the piece out. So I'm just going to put in positive 0.25. Switch to value 0.25. Okay, so there's that little bit added. And I'm going to end up straightening that out when I have them combined. So slash line here, touch the line, slide to the dotted line and release, and say OK. The center front is going to remain stationary. No internal lines are moving. Say OK. And 0.25 again. And this one. And this time I want that line to stay consistent with the side, so I'm moving it 2 and 0.25. Well, we can't have a 6. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to delete those extra lines. Okay, so I'm curious. I have now added to both of those pieces in the same place, but I've made that wonky. And that one. This one is an easy fix. For that one, I would just modify, set rotate, and start with this one and just stay really close to the end and cancel. And for that, I would just create a 2-point line that went from the original to the original, and it's going to change a little bit because it's bigger. Let's see if it looks the same on this one. No, I want the dotted line. And I'm going to do the same thing with this dotted line. I want this piece, but not that part of that piece. Wow, it just really doesn't want to do what I want, does it? There we go. All the way out to the end. So that looks okay. And it looks like I didn't change the length. Did I change the length? I did. Okay, we didn't add a lot, but there's going to be a discrepancy through here. So would I solve that problem if I rotated that up into there? I think if I were pattern making in paper, I would do that. So I'm going to use the line on the front piece. Remember, you don't have to do this. Just watch until you need it. So I'm going to modify rotate the piece. So modify piece, rotate. I want to choose a reference location, not perform an alignment, no increment, and I'm going to be moving it counterclockwise, so I'm going to choose that dot. I'm going to select this, no, this piece, that piece to rotate. Say OK. The point that I want to rotate around is that very corner right there. And then I want to zoom in where I can see it. And I'm going to touch that one. Really? Okay, I've got the piece now. So I'm going to touch down and hope that it will let me come over here. Oh, that's silly. Okay, well that is totally not what I wanted. So I'm going to cancel, and well, that's nice, nothing happened. I always hate it when you have to watch this. This video might get deleted, but remember I told you that you didn't have to do this part, so put it on double speed and fast forward. Modify piece, rotate. I want to rotate this piece. Okay. I want to rotate around that point. So why is it giving me grief about which piece I'm selecting? There we go. It's still going to do that, isn't it? Oh, well, duh. Okay, I only want my side back. Ha! See how easy that was? You just have to remember. So I want that corner to come up to there. And that puts it all back to OK. So that red dotted line will disappear. Modify delete line. And yes, we all watched me mess that up, didn't we? Okay, current pieces, clear all. And I'm going to line that one back up so it's perfect. And make sure everything else is still perfect. I wouldn't even put this in as part of what we're doing, but it's always something people want to know. And keeping in mind that the software is not intended for well, it's intended for factory type of use. And this is more of a couture kind of thing. But people stay interested if they can do what they want. So this is what we're doing. And this could be a good solution for manufacturing, but okay, so I questioned this a little bit because that line right there isn't blending as nicely as I would like it to. See, if I created a 2-point curve right here, I would want to cut that corner off, which means I pushed something out too far. And since this other one didn't change, yes, I see me cutting the middle out. Why doesn't it like that one? Okay, we have a straight line from here to here, just like it's supposed to be. I hope you're fast forwarding through this. Modify, set, rotate. Choose the new line. go all the way to the corner, and then the new line again, then this one, and the new line again, and cancel. So now we have a better aiming point for that other piece. Undo. Okay, so it's still in the same place. And I'm going to choose my side back. So I'm going to line the corners up exactly. Zoom all the way in so you get it just perfect. Okay. Look at that. I guess that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this dotted line onto this piece and call it good. Clear. Hey, I was not done. Clear. Touch down and hold. And select clear. Okay. Create line. Really? Clear all. You can go back now. No? Well. Create line copy. Choose this line. Say OK. Copy it onto this piece. Say OK. Cancel. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to swap that. We would swap that one. I'm going to leave mine this way. You don't have to. Everything else is going to work just fine if you don't do this. Modify line swap. Choose that one, say OK. Swap it with that one, say OK. That is so much nicer. And then we can delete this line. And this one already belongs to that. And this one, we're going to swap. Modify line swap. And you know, in my head right now, I'm thinking I could have done that more perfectly, but I'm just going to spare us all and not go there. And if enough people ask me questions, then maybe I'll fix it and make a new video, but so I'm going to bring down the originals and see what they say. So So how do I want to average that out? I don't want to make this wider too. And I've got that point right there. But on this one, I have the point right here in the right place, and I have the point right here in the right place. So I think the right answer is to split it right here and draw a new line, and do that on both pieces. And it helped me to see the originals to make that decision. I think I would have chosen that anyway, but I feel better about it now. So I'm going to split the line right here, modify line split, where it's still going in a direction that I like it. And then I'm going to create a new line. Am I? I am, but I might have just... Okay. I'm going to rotate a piece again. And this time it's going to work the way that's supposed to work. So, modify, piece, rotate. This time I am going clockwise. Okay. Oh, what did you do? Modify, piece, rotate. Select the piece to rotate. Say OK. The point to rotate around is that corner. And our reference point is going to be right here. And I'm going to just bump it back over so I retain my same line shape, and I'm going to copy that onto there, and that makes me happy. Create line copy. Choose. Choose that piece, touch down, hold, slide to that line, and say OK. And the piece that's getting the line is this messy one. OK. There's the line. Cancel. So I'm going to move this one out of the way. I don't want to change it. But I can now split this line right there, and I'll have reasonably close to the original. Modify line swap. Dotted line. Solid line. And because I split the line earlier, it isn't going to do anything mean. And now I can delete that awful curve. Okay, so remember, I am doing the advanced one. You are welcome to skip this. This is for the overachievers. There's at least one of you out there, and there's at least one scared, please don't do this person. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I retain the same line shape, and this is the way I would treat it if I were using a paper pattern. Make sure they're right on top of each other. Zoom back out. We're going to rotate the smaller piece, modify piece, rotate. This is the one we're rotating. Say OK. We're going to rotate it around that corner. And the reference point, I'm going to wait until I zoom in a little bit. And I want it to blend back here where I split the line. Do you remember when I split the line right there? And now I can copy the line, create line copy, a nice one, to the other piece, say OK, find the line, cancel, it's where we want it, say OK, pick up that piece and get this one into a safe place. Okay, there we go. So I don't have to worry about the rest of it because I did split the line. It's kind of a happy medium between the two. Modify, line swap, line with that one. There we go, and then delete the ugly one. Okay, maybe it would be cute under some circumstances, but not this. Okay, I'm going to delete my two reference ones because I could realign them, but I just want to keep those two safe. So I have enlarged all of the pieces. This one wasn't involved. And depending on how you wanted to do it, you could have added some to that piece. That might have been a poor choice on my part. So I'm going to realign these two. Modify piece, realign piece. And they've gone back to their original position. But I have made my jacket 3 inches bigger around, and I pushed my shoulder out an extra 1/4 of an inch. You could have gone more if you wanted to, but I'm just trying to make minor changes to this. So I'm going to save these pieces. Instead of the ending blouse that it's got, I'm going to change them to jacket because they're a little bigger. So File, Save As, choose this one, and I can put I can put a 3 on it, so I know that I've added 3 inches to it. But I'm giving them new names. Yes, reassign automatically. So they're distinctly different. You know, some of the things that I say you've heard so many times, and then there are others that I don't repeat enough. Did I just do this one? Or yes, I did. That's one of the things I like about this. Instead of having to sit through this whole lecture in class, you just put it on double speed and just watch it go by and then stop it again when I've figured it out. Okay, so I want to clean it up a little bit. I kind of like how those are matching though, so I'm just going to merge those two lines. Modify line, combine, clockwise. Oh, no. Okay. So you may not want them all together in the same model, but for now I'm going to leave them together. Add pieces, jacket. Okay, so this is now bigger. And you could use it for a jacket. Because I pushed the shoulder seam out, you might want to put in a small shoulder pad. I didn't change the circumference of the armhole, so the sleeve still fits, but I am about to, if I wanted to go in and put in the shoulder pad. You can skip the shoulder pad part if you want to. And I'll come back in and show you how to do the lapel in the next one. But I will quickly show you how to add for shoulder pad. So modify, set, rotate the inner corner of the neck on the front, inner corner of the neck on the back. cancel. Outer corner of the shoulder on both pieces. And the one that's stationary is the one you do first. Okay, so I've got those in position. What if I did... Is that what I did wrong? It might be. Well, no, there's a dart there. Okay, so I'm going to rotate my front and not the back because they're in the position I want them to be. So modify piece, rotate again. I'm going to choose my front. I'm going clockwise, so I'll say OK. The point I'm rotating around is this one, and my reference point is over here. So if I wanted to put in a really thin shoulder pad just for structure, then maybe I'd only want to make it 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch. And because it's small, it is a pretty small amount. So I could just set it down and measure that, make sure I like it, and add a line halfway between the two and swap them so that they're both bigger. So that would be create a line. And if you're always thinking in terms of calculus and geometry and triangles, then you're good. And I don't know why I do, because I hated math, but either way it still works for me. So I just created a line across there, which is giving me a triangle here in the middle. So I can create a 2-point line, right click to midpoint, choose the midpoint of that line, say OK, go back to normal and draw the line between the two, and then I could add that line to both pieces, swap it. It would be bumped out enough to add a shoulder pad, and you might want to think about blending that again. Huh. 2-point curve is where I was really aiming. So that's almost cutting off everything that I added. So rather than doing it that way, I would probably come in on both ends and obviously not that. But I would blend them out a little bit more, and it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more space in the armhole, at least in the back of a jacket. I know, there's only one of you still listening, and that's okay. The rest of you are much happier. Okay, so I've added for shoulder pad. The amount that I add for shoulder pad is going to affect what I do with this curve. So I'm only going to come halfway, and then I can come back out here and blend it in closer to the bottom. So I'm not trying to blend it from here. I'm shoving this all the way down to the end and then pulling it back and playing with it until I get something I like. And by doing that, I've just extended this little bit out here, and it might make it easier to move in the armhole. So I'm going to connect with that again, come back over to the end, and blend into this one, and just set that down. So it's not changing it a lot, but it's got a much smoother shape on the end. So if I wanted to do that, I would trace this new section off with that line and then add this line and that to both pieces and just swap the lines and keep it there. And I'd ask you if you had any questions, but I can't hear you. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's good. If you're adding a shoulder pad, you're going to have to widen the sleeve opening. Do you want to see that? Nobody else is going to want to see that right now. Okay, where'd you go? We did that already, didn't we? You just go into advanced, fullness, tapered, pivot end, open end from the middle, and whatever the amount was that you added up here, say okay. And then add that same amount at the top and set it down, and it would be bigger. Then of course you would have to rebalance the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to undo all of that last bit. It's amazing how far back you can go. Okay, so that puts me back where I was, and everybody can resume again. Did I add those to the model? Did I go back that far? I already did this, didn't I? Yes, it's already there, so I'm just going to say cancel every time it says that. Alright, we're good.